Matt joins us on the program on this Monday. Matt, congratulations on that first winning game ball. Nice moment there.
Yeah, it was tremendous. I wasn't really expecting that. So after we went out to the outfield, and I was going to say something after we won, and then I just ended up dancing. So that was even extra special when we got on the bus to kind of get that game ball.
The fellas all call you Big Daddy?
Yeah, that kind of started like 3 or 4 or 5 years ago with some other squads, and it just kind of carried over.
Hey, Matt, going down to Georgia Southern for your first road trip right there and being around the club early in practice and everything else, what did you maybe learn more in those 3 games that you were watching your boys play for the season that you may not have known during the practice sessions?
Yeah, I think we had a lot of injuries in the fall. So a lot of these new guys, especially the freshmen, this is the first time you're actually getting a look at them. So you're just trying to see like how they're going to handle the moment with some adversity. They had a really, really good crowd on Friday night. They sold out. But we got some older guys too, and I think they kind of carried them along. And that's kind of, we want to be a player-led group and have those guys kind of lead the young guys. So it was a good experience overall.
So learning something new maybe, and was there anything that you kind of reaffirmed or confirmed that you knew about your club and then you saw it come to play in the first 3 games?
Well, I think to be honest, we don't really know what we have. We have 25 new players, you know, and when you have a new group and after losing the type of team and the talent that we had over the last few years, you're just looking to see how they're going to win, how they come together and win. So I was happy to see that the first 2 games, the first game, a come from behind win. And I think with these younger guys and the new guys, we'll just kind of come together as the season goes and get better each game.
I want to take a step back for our viewers, Matt, who might not be as familiar with your program or your role there. I mean, you are as big a part of Maryland baseball as anybody that we could certainly think of, including the guys from Maryland that have played in the big leagues. A little bit of your career detail. You've been on the staff for over a decade, and you were a star player there, top 5 career in so many categories. I would imagine that there's a real personal point of pride here for you running this program now.
Yeah, there's no doubt. I mean, I grew up 10 minutes from the campus. You know, I went to DeMatha Catholic High School, which is on Route 1. Both of my parents went to Maryland. They got married in the chapel there. So I'm about as Maryland born and bred as possible. Even you could see Cal Ripken behind me. I grew up going to watch Billy at Memorial Stadium and Camden Yards, and having that iconic family be a kind of part of what shaped my childhood.
Now, don't lie. You went to the stadium and watched Cal play, and then I was there sometimes. Hey, go back to in college baseball, the assistant coach. I'm assuming that's kind of closely related to in the big leagues when they talk about the bench coach. How much managing were you doing during that time during the ball games when you were kind of the number 2, if you will?
Yeah, I think, well, in the assistant role, I was just so thankful back when John Sheff first came back about 11 years ago and then carried over to Rob Vaughn, who were the last 2 managers here. They tasked me with so much. So at the college level, it's the budgets, it's the fundraising, it's the scheduling, it's all the things, the administrative stuff that's actually a lot harder than the actual baseball stuff. But I was just so thankful for being with Rob for 11 years. He's moved on to Alabama, but allowed me to kind of do my thing with the hitters and forge my identity that way and build relationships. So I had a lot to say. It was very inclusive with both staffs, but learned a lot. And I felt ready. The baseball part feels kind of the same, which is always a good thing. You're just kind of managing a new staff and things of that nature.
Now, when you mentioned dealing with the hitters, I'm pretty sure back in your day, you pretty much led off a lot of games for the Maryland Terps right there. So you were the first one to see said pitcher of that day. The analytical world, the information that we have now is a little bit different. But is there any sort of old school messaging that you try to get along to your hitters now in the game saying, look, dude, that dude's on the bump. He's trying to get you out. Go up there and do something about it.
Listen, we use that. I think it's a tool, okay? But I warn these guys and I say, hey, man, the first time I saw the starting pitcher for the day or knew anything about him was when I was on the on deck circle. And then I challenge them and I say, did you have a scouting report all fall on any of our pitchers? And they say, no. That's a good point. So I feel like it's a placebo sometimes. Information is great, right? Like we want to utilize that. We want to put in our toolbox. but we can't be slavish too. We can't be totally reliant on any one thing. So we actually try to make it as simplistic as possible for our hitters. We want to show them some shape. We want to tell him what he's got, but we also don't want to overdo it to the point where now we're making it a science project. So we try to take a lot of pride in coaching the individual player differently. So everyone's differently. One guy may use this, another guy may use that. Matt Shaw did one thing, Lamont Wade did another, Brandon Lau did another. So we're trying to understand how the individual processes information and give them the least amount so they can go out and be successful.
Hey, Matt, explain to our audience, because the college baseball schedule, and as we take a look at some of the notable Terp alums that are in the big leagues and starring in the big leagues, like Lau, like Late Night Lamont, et cetera, explain for our audience how the schedule at 60-ish games turns into such a sprint. I mean, a bad couple weeks is really costly when you play so few games.
Yeah, it's a grind. I hate to use that word, but it just is. We got back I think I got in bed at 2:30 or 3 last night from Georgia Southern. They got to get up and go to class today. They're doing an optional lift during the day. We play tomorrow. You play some Wednesdays. We travel again Thursday to go to Texas. Then we play Friday, Saturday, Sunday, then fly back in the middle of the night Sunday. Then you do it all over again. Wow. So, being in Maryland, 4 of our first 5 weeks are on the road. And you're trying to do that just for the weather because you're trying to get as many games in. So it's truly a grind. It's more time management than anything. So I feel like that's why college is so good for these players, because when they get the pro ball, they've had to manage so many different times and time management situations, which really, and Billy can tell you best, it's when you're in pro ball, it's time management. You got to be self-intrinsically motivated. Nobody's going to hold your hand, and you have to be able to manage that time.
Hey, Matt, last year, Big Ten champ. University of Maryland Terps. Tell us a little bit, because I think a lot of people in the baseball world or in the outside world, okay, SEC, everybody's talking about this, ACC, but Big Ten baseball, I think some ways it could be a little bit harder because the climate's not necessarily copacetic for everybody going on, but you guys are all battling the same thing. But talk a little bit more about that program right there as far as inside the Big Ten and how competitive it actually is.
Well, it's very underrated. I think, we made a decision to play conference only during the COVID season. It kind of hurt us a little bit as a conference, but we're very slept on and underrated. We're trying to earn that respect. It's a very, very physical conference. There's been a ton of good players come out of the conference. It's only going to get better next year. We add Washington, Oregon, USC, and UCLA. So we're a premier Power 5 conference, and there's really, really good baseball. And I think you're seeing that on display. When Michigan made the College World Series, you got maybe a top 10 arm this year, and Brody Brecht over at Iowa, and a really good staff, and Indiana's good, and the whole conference is good. So we're definitely fighting for that respect, but it's a great conference, and obviously we've produced a lot of professional baseball players.
Home opener tomorrow. Do I have that right, Matt?
Home opener tomorrow. It's 50 degrees slated, so we're ready to rock. It's good to go.
A balmy 50. You couldn't ask for anything better in the Northeast. Yeah. Way to go, man. Hey, we appreciate Absolutely. The time. Congrats on the winning series, getting your first head coaching victory, and we wish you best of luck in 2024.
Thank you so much for having me.